Who were the winners and losers of the Belgian Grand Prix? No, not that one. What did we learn from the Belgian Grand Prix? No, here are my predictions for... Never mind, that's not what we do here. We cover the real issues. If you want to know what happened during the race, you either watched it, you can go and watch Matt and Tommy, or that tit who is a duck with a Ferrari cap. Like I said, here we discuss the real issues, including what the fuck, why the fuck, and how the fuck. So, to start, Charles Leclerc took my advice. This week, Ferrari turned up with a fully revised rear suspension. So I assumed, as with all Ferrari modifications, it wouldn't work. Both of the drivers would have a crisis and book themselves in for additional therapy.
You are a fucking retard.
I felt like I was pretty much right when we saw Lewis Hamilton lock both of his rears in qualifying and spin out. And it was during the race that I realised Charles had taken my advice that I put to him last week. He clearly watches the show. As you can see here from my clip from last week, he needs to turn up to each, and I'm being serious here, he needs to turn up to each Grand Prix ready to kill. No dog, no woman, by himself, headphones on, ready to actually murder members of his own team if they start f***ing up. So he did. He left the girlfriend and the dogs at home. The girlfriend was off somewhere hot and sunny, as you can see here from this picture of her puppies. Yeah, I was disappointed too. I misread the title of that one. So he did take my advice and most likely sent her on an all-inclusive holiday to a resort in the Costa del Sol. You know, rich people shit. He came with proper determination, a new rear suspension, and performed a bit of a masterclass in how to hold off Verstappen, rather than just running back to the paddock and grabbing his emotional support dog at the first sign of Ferrari-based issues. So, the sprint race. Leclerc overtook Norris. Norris then took the place back off Leclerc. Good, moving on. The race. We've had a couple of weeks off. Lovely. We're at Spa. Great track. Classic track. It's forecast to rain. McLaren and Ferrari have both brought upgrades. Horner's gone. Jos is swinging his dick round the paddock. And here we go. And it was shit. Here's my question to start off. What the f*** are these? Are they decorative? I tuned into the Belgian race review of the P1 podcast with Matt and Tommy. And according to Matt, Tommy went on a rant about the start of the Grand Prix. Valid point. The startup procedure was a bit of a shit show. Take a look at this.
The rain delay. What a delay it was. Visibility is everything. Get the safety car out. The drivers are still, having a cup of tea and the camera's just showing them all at the back of the garages.
Annoying.
Oh, we love a Tommy rant. Wow.
Wow.
Rant.
I'll show you a fucking rant. First of all, you've got one fucking sweeper driving around. Second of all, it's Spa. It's not exactly unlikely for it to fucking rain. Is it supposed to be a massive surprise that in the middle of the Ardennes forest it gets a bit wet? Eau Rouge is one of the classic corners on the entire F1 calendar. Yes, it's a handful. Yes, it's dangerous. And that is why it makes it fun to watch. You can complain when this shit happens, like it did at 1998. They never even really made it round the first corner. They never made it to Eau Rouge. How do you clear the track of standing water? You send the cars round to create a dry line. How do you do that? You send 20 racing cars around the track behind the safety car with wet tyres on, with the tyres whose operating temperature is 90 to 100 degrees. Literally water boiling point. They blast the water off they heat the water off the track. And they're doing that every 3 minutes. And no fucking rolling start. The start is the bit you watch. The start is the part where everything is at stake. The part who my mother doesn't care about Formula One will still come in when the family's watching Formula One and go, I'll just watch the start. Because that's when stuff happens. And yes, I know it's dangerous, but it's supposed to be dangerous. The whole point, you are supposed to be the best drivers in the world. You send the Formula 2 guys out with no rolling start, no nothing. They're just allowed to fend for themselves. Hang on a minute. Why are you being so precious with the F1 drivers? Yes, I know the cars are a bit quicker, but none of these people are paid less than £1 million. And if you want £1 million and you want safety, go and play golf or tennis. It has been 11 years since Jules Bianchi died in properly rainy conditions. A real tragedy. But a tragedy caused by bad race stewardship. There's no two ways about it. That tractor, that telehandler, should have never been allowed on track while cars are still going round. But that probably isn't the thing on their mind. It probably is Antoine Hubert. This tragedy haunts drivers and stewards alike. Antoine Hubert came off at Eau Rouge, went into the barrier, and then was spun back into the track where he was struck by another car. Every driver saw that. Every driver had the reality check that this could happen to them. He was in Formula 2, for God's sake. He's not even going as quick as them. Every driver saw it and had that reality check. And every driver had the opportunity to go, do you know what, fellas? That's made it a bit too real for me. I'm out. But they didn't. None of them did. We don't need any excuse at the moment to neuter the racing experience. We don't need to cancel Spa. We don't need to cut apart a fantastic corner like Eau Rouge, a legendary corner. All you need to do is adapt it. A plan to slightly change Eau Rouge may be the thing that keeps this track on the calendar. When so many of the higher-ups of Formula 1 are calling for another boring, lashed-together street circuit in Pyongyang or somewhere. Let's do it. Let's have the North Korean Grand Prix. I'd tune in for that. If you go into the qualifying drop zone, you just get put in the back of a black van and get taken to a labour camp. Having a boring race at Spa doesn't help the case of keeping it on the calendar. But maybe that's what the grand stewards of F1 want. Maybe they want a boring Spa race so they can bin it and have another street circuit in a country with questionable human rights. We know how they love that. Who wants Belgian chocolate when you could have dead migrant workers? And onto the tyres. Do Pirelli not have any confidence in that product? This should be reflected in how we think of Pirelli. If they're making a shit product, they should be treated as such. It's not just a throwaway comment, but we should think of Pirelli differently if they can't produce one specific type of tyre for one specific type of car. I mean, if Durex or Trojan were sponsoring Formula 1 and all of the drivers and team bosses were knocking up girlfriends and interns all around the joint, you wouldn't buy their product, would you? Because there's clearly, rubber issues. And it would affect their business outside of sponsorship. Get it together, Pirelli, or we'll call Michelin and Bridgestone, and we know how that ends. Anyway, that, Tommy, is a rant. I'll give you another one. Other items. Get Lando's mother off my TV screen every 3 minutes. Why are we focusing on Lando's mum so much? Oscar's family was there. I remember a story about Andy Murray being given a Percy pig by his mother before most games. Is there something similar going on with Lando, or is it something slightly more weird?
Bitty.
All right then.
No, it is fine to have your mum there. It is fine to have your mum there and have your family there. But whatever the TV director's fascination is with Lando's mum needs to stop. Standing there on camera all the time, dressed up like a substitute art teacher at a vegan boarding school for the terminally gay.
I'll make that deal. How about you, you bitch? You make that deal?
I make that deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.